Hi, I am Marcin Paczyński from GOG, and welcome to our 2024 Game Preservation Recap. This year was truly a milestone for game preservation. Video games are more than just entertainment. They are art, technology, and a reflection of our culture. Preserving them ensures that future generations can enjoy the games that define our past, while understanding their stories, development, and impact on the world.
If you don't know your past, you can't really enjoy your future or present.
Video games are undeniably at this point a part of human culture. And to understand where the games that affected us deeply came from is to understand where we came from.
While today's games, many with no physical media and relying on unstable remote servers, are incredibly at risk. One of our goals is to think not just about what researchers and museum guests are interested in today, but what will the researcher in 100 years need to best learn about the history of video games.
Video games as a part of pop culture are really important to show you what the general society was like in those days.
The European Union already considers games as part of the cultural heritage. Computer games are bigger than movies and music industries combined.
You can always read a book. You can read a book from 500 BC because words are still the same. But video games need a little work to keep running and to be preserved.
In our case, by preserving both the games and the hardware, we are letting both our contemporaries but also future generations experiencing the interaction not only with games but also with original hardware.
You have these games that were part of culture, this both financial import on our culture as well as our own personal histories. But at one point, they were considered incredibly disposable. But time has proven that people are starting to understand. Games are us.
Preservation isn't just about saving games. It's about saving stories, creativity, and a vital part of human culture. At the same time, it breathes new life into classic games, helping publishers reconnect with their players, reach new audiences, and showcase the lasting value of their games. Now let's look at some of the major achievements in game preservation for 2024, made possible by our amazing partners.
We finished iteration 1 of our registration work. That means that every object here in the archive is now searchable in our database. It's a major step not only for us, but also for all the people that need access to the archive.
We have acquired amazing collections from source code to Dungeons & Dragons Gold Box titles, and we're honored to preserve material from a company that shut down in 2023. In August 2024, The Strong created and hosted the first ever symposium dedicated to video game preservation titled Save the Games, welcoming nearly 200 attendees from countries all over the world who shared both their work and passion for games preservation, highlighting the work being done not just by institutions such as The Strong, but from companies such as Sony, and from many individuals passionately working from their home offices.
We've been knee-deep in building our digital access portal so that people can research our material without having to visit us in person. To that extent, we've digitized, I think, something over 2,500 magazines over the last year. We've been digitizing a lot of our development collections. We've been building tools that help people search through that material in really powerful ways.
We started off launching Star Wars Dark Forces, probably the best reviewed game that we've ever developed. Followed that up with a 3DO Classic PO'd, the definitive edition. Then at QuakeCon, we revealed that we had also been working on remasters of Doom 1 and Doom 2 that we did for our partners over at Bethesda Softworks. Followed that up with Killing Time Resurrected, another title that had begun as a 3DO game. And by the time you're watching this, we will have released The Thing remastered. So, great year for us.
Since 2021, the Video Game History Foundation has been working with the Software Preservation Network to find a way for libraries and archives to remotely share digital access to out-of-print games. This would enable people to enjoy and experience classic games they might otherwise not have access to. However, this access is currently forbidden by Section 1201 of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. In October of this year, the U.S. Copyright Office rejected the DMCA exemption to support this method of game preservation, claiming, quote, "A substantial market still exists for classic games, including secondary markets. Enabling widespread remote access to preserve games with minimal supervision would present a serious risk to an important market." This was seen as a major blow to the preservation of video games, which makes the work of Night Dive, Digital Eclipse, and GOG that much more important, as our collective goal is to make all classic video games available again.
So for Croc, we spent 1.5 years looking for the source code. And, luckily we were able to find it. If we didn't have that code, I don't know how we would have been able to build the kind of a remaster that we're building, right? We reached out to almost everyone on the original dev team, and everyone had something.
Most games from back in the day are usually copy protected and come with on-disk copy protection. So the challenges we are facing every day is actually diving into code that is probably 20, 30, even 40 years old. We developed technology that actually would stitch together incorrect or damaged data from very, very small segments of correct data.
This year we got some very cool things. So first off, I want to show these games from Triumph Studios. These are the Age of Wonders series. We got the first one, the second one, and the third one. And we don't just store the physical objects here, but we digitize them and make them playable via emulation so they can preserve for all of eternity. Now, aside from these awesome physical games, we also expanded our reach this year. So we also involved ourselves with collecting video game merchandise. In particular, we got a plush from the game Minute by Jan Willem and Kitty, as well as a plush from Tokitori by Two Tribes, which was a very prolific Dutch studio that was active in indie game development. And actually, that is one of our best acquisitions this year, because not only did we get their 9 games that they published, but also all the games they never released, so we got a lot of their working archive.
The Internet Archive was focused on internet history and web pages specifically, along with potentially some other mediums as time would go on. That changed when we took in pallets of software from Macromedia that were creations from the 1990s using Director. We found ourselves suddenly in the physical realm, the software realm, and more importantly, game and software history, which at the time had its adherents, but was nothing like it is now. If I had to discuss what was the biggest change in the last few years in game preservation, it's the way that we are continually growing in the base premises of whether or not games should be preserved at all.
What we achieved is quite a lot, actually. We started the initiative to directly petition EU lawmakers, specifically the European Commission, where we, within 5 months, we've gathered 400,000 signatures, or very close to. We are aiming for 1 million.
Manufacturers are now obliged to remove and avoid software or hardware that obstructs repair. And I think that's very important, not just for us as a museum, but also for everybody.
For GOG, this was a landmark year. We brought back the cult classic Alpha Protocol, released the original Resident Evil trilogy, and launched the GOG Preservation Program. With this program, we ensure that classic games not only run on modern PCs, but will also remain playable forever, with cool additional features such as cloud saves, controller support, and new resolutions. 2024 showed us the power of collaboration in preserving gaming history. From developers to archivists and players like you, every effort counts. Let us know what you think was the most important preservation moment of the year, or tell us which game would you like to see revived. Together, we can save the games we love for now and for the future.
You have an old hard drive with code from a game you worked on. Please save it. If you have these things, do not throw anything away. If you have source code, don't throw it away. Archive it somewhere, or find who might want it, or donate it to a museum.